बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम वसल्लल्लाहु अला नबीयिल करीम रब्बि इश्रह ली सदरी वयस्सिर ली अमरी वहलुल उक़दतम मिन लिसानी यफ़क़हू क़ौली। The topic for this day is Dawah ilallah in Islam. Dawah ilallah in Islam. Dawah ilallah means inviting people towards God. Inviting people towards God. This is Dawah. And Dawah is as obligatory as namaz and roza and hajj and zakat. Every Muslim has to do Dawah work. There is no exception at all. Now, Dawah is a very special duty. Dawah is a very special kind of work in Islam. People generally confuse. They do milli work and they feel that they are doing Dawah work. Some people are engaged in debate and they feel that they are doing Dawah work. You know, debate is nothing in Islam. There is a vast difference between debate and Dawah. Dawah is quite different. Debaters try to establish their pride before others. But Dawah is not to establish your pride. No. Dawah is to love your enemy, to love all humanity. The source of Dawah is Nush, N-U-S-H, Inni lakum nasihun amin. Nush in Arabic means well-wishing. So the source of Dawah is well-wishing. The incentive of Dawah is well-wishing, while incentive of debate is to establish your pride upon others. So debate is not Dawah. Even debate is not a required thing in Islam, because debate disturbs the relationship between Muslims and non-Muslims, Muslims and other communities. When you try to establish your pride before others, then you create tension between the two communities. Then you disturb the normal relationship between the two communities. Then you create anger. At one side, among Muslims, you inculcate a spirit of pride, and on the other side, you inculcate a spirit of humiliation in the other communities. So debate is not Dawah. Dawah work is to invite people towards God. All the other ahkam in Islam are Muslim oriented. like Salat, Saum, Zakat, Hajj, all others teachings of Islam are Muslim oriented, basically Muslim oriented. But Dawah is completely human oriented. Humanity at large is the audience of Dai. When you address the whole humanity. This is Dawah. So Dawah work is very important, and it is obligatory. Why? Because why God sent all those prophets? Only to convey the message, only to convey the divine message towards mankind. This was the sole purpose of sending out all those prophets. Now, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was the final prophet. He was the final prophet. But, every day some people are born, some people die, some people are born. So continuity of humanity is persists. So what to do? After Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, those people who are born after Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, up to the doomsday, so they need also guidance. Who is to show guidance? It is Ummah Muhammadiyya. There is a verse in the Quran, لِيَكُونَ الرَّسُولُ شَهِيدًا عَلَيْكُمْ وَتَكُونُوا شُهَدَاءَ عَلَى النَّاسِ. It means that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam conveyed the message of God to you. To you means Ummah Muhammadiyya. And then it is duty of Ummah Muhammadiyya to convey this message to all mankind, generation after generation. Due to this, Ummah Muhammadiyya is called Ummat-e Wasat in Islam. Ummat-e Wasatan latakunu ala nas. وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا لِتَكُونُوا شُهَدَاءَ عَلَى النَّاسِ وَيَكُونَ الرَّسُولُ عَلَيْكُمْ شَهِيدًا. Ummat-e Wasat means Ummah in between, the middle Ummah. Ummah Muhammadiyya is the middle Ummah. Middle Ummah means between God, between the Prophet and mankind. Between Prophet and mankind. So Muslims are middle Ummah. They have received the religion of God by Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then they have to convey this to other people, to all mankind. So Ummah Muhammadiyya is between Muhammad and the humanity. It is duty of every member of Ummah Muhammadiyya, every Muslim, every mu'min, to do this duty. There is no exception. There is no exception. So, what is Dawah? Every day there are interactions between Muslims and non-Muslims, between Muslims and other communities. Interaction is interaction is a part of our daily life. Interaction is part of social life. So during this interaction, we have to convey this message to other people. Interaction gives us a very good chance to do our work. Now we are living in the age of globalization, when now the whole world is like a village. So this is a golden chance for us. Globalization is not a bad thing, it is a good thing for us. Due to modern communication, due to globalization, due to travel, there are enormous opportunities of interaction. So we have to convey the divine message to all mankind during this interaction. Now we are living in the age of printing press. So every Muslim must accompany some pamphlets, some printed books, some brochures, some leaflets. And during interaction, he must give these books as a gift. Once I was traveling in some part of Kerala. I traveled by train. So at some station I alighted, and then I wanted to go to the town. So when I wanted to go to town, I found that a person is accompanying me. A person is also going with me. He said that I am also going to town. So I am I am in your company. So during this short travel, he said something, and then he gifted me a brochure. He was a Christian. This brochure was printed in Ohio, in America. A beautiful brochure. So he gave me that brochure, and then he went to his destination. This was a beautiful way to convey your message to other people. Every one of us, every Muslim, must keep some books on Islam, some pamphlets on Islam, some brochures on Islam, and he must spread these books through interaction. But it is very necessary, it is very important that these books must be highly in scientific language, highly in objective language, without bias, without pride, without hate, without protest, without complaint. Our present literature are full of these kind of negative items. In every book you will find that the author is registering some complaint, some protest, some kind of negative messages. So these kind of books are not Dawa literature. This kind of literature is not Dawa literature. We have to, I and my mission have produced hundreds of books in different languages. So these books are written in a scientific language. You cannot find any kind of hate, any kind of protest, any kind of complaint in these books. So you have to. It is a golden chance for you. So I am saying that our age is the age of interaction. Interaction means Dawah opportunities. This kind of interaction, which we call globalization. Globalization is another word, interaction, global interaction. Globalization means global interaction. So we have to avail this opportunity. There are different ways to avail this opportunity. Sometimes you organize meetings, sometimes you are engaged in dialogue and discussion. And the easiest way is to keep some pamphlets in your bag, and every time you are in contact of some people, you gift these books to your co-travelers. So I would like to emphasize that Dawah work is quite different from milli work and other kind of work. Dawah work is inviting people to God. Then what is the meaning of inviting people to God? There is a verse in the Quran, Kunu or Rabbaniyin. O people, you must keep the way of Rabbani way of life. Quran calls that you must adopt the Rabbani way of life. Rabbani means God-oriented. This is the message, that you must adopt the God-oriented life, God-oriented thinking, God-oriented action, God-oriented behavior. This is the basic message of Dawah. This is the basic message of Dawah. God wants that people must adopt God as their sole concern. Sole concern. So Dawah call is centralized on this point. O people, you have to accept God as your sole concern. You have to make God your sole concern. You have to make God as your in your life as its central in the center. So God is our central concern, sole concern. Now, what is the God-oriented life? It is directly linked with the creation plan of God. God created us and settled us in this world. Why? What is the purpose? The purpose is that God has created a very beautiful world, that is paradise. Paradise is the most beautiful world. Paradise is eternal. Paradise is an ideal world. Paradise is a perfect world. There is no disadvantage in paradise. Paradise is full of advantages of all mankind, of all kind. So God wants to select those people who are able to be settled in this paradise. This is the sole purpose of Dawah work. Dawah work means to inform people of this fact. Dawah work means to inform people about this fact that you are creature of God, that you are here in this world as a test. One day you will die, and after death there is day of judgment, and you will face your God at the day of judgment. So with everyone there are two angels. With every person there are two angels appointed by God. These angels are keeping record of every person. So according to this record, God will decide for every person whether they are punishable or they are to be blessed. So those people who fulfill the condition, they will go to paradise. And those people who fail to fulfill the condition, they will go to hell. This is the creation plan of God. This is the most important issue of our life. So Dawah work means to inform people about these things. Dawah work is to make people aware about the scheme of God. This is Dawah work. And Dawah work is a duty of every Muslim. Without doing Dawah work, you cannot get salvation in the hereafter. It is very, very serious matter. There is a verse in the Quran, Rusulan Mubashirin wa Munzirin لئلا يكون للناس على الله حجة بعد الرسل. It means that this verse tells us what is the purpose of Dawah. This Quranic verse tells us what is the purpose of Dawah. Purpose of Dawah is to make people aware about their future, so that no one can claim that we were unaware of hell and paradise. So God wants to remove this unawareness. This is the purpose of Dawah. So we have to focus on this purpose. We have to focus on this purpose. And also we have to prepare ourselves for doing this duty. Now, in our present world, there are enormous opportunities. These opportunities were not present in previous centuries. For example, now we are living in an age where there is religious freedom. Religious freedom. You know, freedom is the greatest blessing for a Da'i. Freedom is the greatest blessing for a Da'i. Without freedom, you cannot do Dawah work. No freedom, no Dawah work. So freedom is freedom of expression, freedom of religion is quite necessary to do Dawah work. So this kind of freedom was not available in previous centuries. We are fortunate enough to be born in this age where there is freedom everywhere. But there is a very important aspect. If you want to avail the opportunity of freedom, you have to fulfill some condition. You have to fulfill some condition. In our present age, all the nations, all the systems, including United Nations, have accepted freedom as an absolute right of every human being. Now, freedom is an accepted right for every human being. No one can abolish freedom. And due to this freedom, Dawah work becomes very easy. But there is a condition that freedom that you have unlimited freedom with only one exception. In our modern age, we have complete freedom, but there is only one exception, that is violence. Violence is not permitted. You are not free to go to violence. Peaceful activism is your right, but violent activism is not your right. There is a beautiful story in American history. When America became free, it happened that one American went out from his home. He was walking on a street in this manner, moving his hand like this. So it happened that he hit his hand to some other's nose. He hit his hand to some other passerby. So that person said, "What is this nonsense? Why you hit my nose?" The passerby said, what is this nonsense? Why you hit my nose? That American said, today India is free. So I am enjoying my freedom. I am enjoying my freedom. So that person said, my brother, you are free, but you must know that your freedom ends where my nose begins. You must know that your freedom ends where my nose begins. This is the formula of freedom in our present time. We have complete freedom without any restriction. But there is only one exception. And that is, violence is not permitted for you. Except violence, you can do anything. So if we want to avail present opportunities in terms of freedom, if we want to avail the opportunities in terms of freedom, we have to fulfill this condition. We have to be very strict. We have to be very strict. We have to organize our activities in a peaceful manner, without any violence. Then we can avail all those opportunities. But now Muslims are quite unaware of this fact. Every day there are some news about Muslims' violence. Every day. So I can say that these Muslims don't know. These Muslims have no knowledge about the present time, present age. Because when you turned violent, you became incapable to avail the opportunities, present opportunities. So this freedom is a great opportunity for us. By availing this freedom, we can do our work throughout the world, throughout the globe. All kind of Dawah activities, we are free for all kind of Dawah activities in terms of electronic media, in terms of print media, in terms of multimedia. We can organize seminars, we can organize dialogues. Even we can establish a Dawah empire. If we avail the present opportunities in terms of freedom, we can establish a Dawah empire. There is no obstacle. It is quite possible to establish a Dawah empire, an international empire for Dawah purposes. But Muslims are engaged in violence. that is unlawful. When you use freedom in a peaceful manner, then you are right. Then it is okay. But when you use violence, you become unable to avail all those opportunities in terms of freedom. So freedom is a golden chance. Freedom is a golden chance, but only those people can avail this chance who are aware of this fact that peaceful activities are lawful, but violent activities is completely unlawful. In our world, in this world, according to modern international norm, peaceful activities are quite lawful, but violent activities are quite unlawful. So if we want to do our duty in terms of Dawah, we have to keep peace. Because if we adopt violence, we cannot avail these opportunities. So we have to be very, very strict in this matter. Very, very strict. It is a matter of wisdom. There is a hadith, اتقوا فراسة المؤمن فإنه ينظر بنور الله. Save yourself from the wisdom of a believer, because he sees from the light of God. So be wise person. Be a wise person. You must adopt this principle that I will do my best for Dawah work, but by peaceful manners and not by violent manners. When you adopt violence, you become unable to avail all those opportunities that are available. These opportunities are available in complete sense of the word. But we must abandon all those violence. So there is 2-point formula. In our present time, Dawah work requires a 2-point formula. One is to abandon all those violent activities. To abandon all those violent activities. And second, to avail the freedom. First, you have to abandon all those violent activities, and the second, to avail all those golden opportunities in terms of freedom. This is a 2-point formula for Dawah work. There is a verse in the Quran, Inni lakum nasahun ameen. This verse gives us what is the quality of a da'i. Quality of a da'i. Basically, it is two qualities. One ameen and the second nasih. Ameen means completely honest. Honest. Here honest means not to bring about any kind of change in the divine mission. This is ameen. And then nasih means you have to be well-wisher to all mankind. So these are two conditions. First of all, being honest. And the second, to avail all those opportunities in a peaceful manner and to be well-wisher to all mankind. So I would like to say that Dawah work is a quite different type of work. All those work like namaz, roza, hajj and zakat, etc. are Muslim-oriented work. Muslim-oriented work. But Dawah is quite different. Dawah is man-oriented act. Dawah means conveying the message of God to all mankind. So we have to know this difference. Without knowing this difference, we cannot do Dawah work in a required manner. Prophet of Islam was very keen on this issue. You know, Prophet of Islam performed Hajj in his last year in 632. At that time, there were 140,000 companions with the Prophet of Islam. So Prophet of Islam addressed his companions in the Maidan Arafat, in the field of Arafat. This address is well known as Khutbah Hajjatul Wada. So in this khutbah, in this address, Prophet said, Ayyuhan nas, inna Allah basani kafatan lil nas, fa'addu anni. O my companion, O people, God has sent me for all mankind. God has sent me as a prophet for all mankind. فَأَدُّوا عَنِّي. So you have to convey this message to all mankind. This was a pre-death sermon of the Prophet of Islam to his ummah. This was a most important pre-death sermon to all mankind. In this sermon or in this address, Prophet told the ummah what is his special duty. What is his special duty? That special duty is Dawah work, conveying the message of God to all mankind. So you know, if you visit Makkah and Medina, you will find that you will see a very strange phenomena. That is that there are few graveyards in Makkah and Medina. There are few graves of the companions in Makkah and Medina. Why? Why their graves are not in Makkah and Medina? The reason is that they migrated to other countries, other part of the world. When Prophet said that Addu Anni, you have to convey my message to all mankind, they decided to go in other parts of the world for only one purpose, for a single purpose. And that purpose was to convey the message of God to all mankind. This was the only purpose, this was the only formula. So you see the result was miraculous. Present Arab world was formed during this period. So I would like to say that this is the best example for us. We have to follow this path of the Prophet, path of the companions of the Prophets. Prophet spent all his life in spreading the message of Dawah. This was the only mission of the Prophet of Islam. Quran says, Da'in ilallahi bi'idnihi wa sirajan munira. Quran says that you are a da'i. Prophet is a da'i. Then the companions of the Prophet became da'i. They spread Islam everywhere in the world. You know, there is a example of Egypt. Egypt was Islamized during the same period. Now, how it was possible? How it was possible to Islamize Egypt? You know, at that time, there were Christians. Their language was Christianity. No, their religion was Christianity. Their religion was Christianity. Their language was Coptic. Their culture was Egyptian culture. Everything was quite different. But now Egypt is an Islamic country. How it happened? It had not by sword. No. One British historian, Sir Arthur Keith, was expert on Egyptian affairs, what is called Egyptology. So he has published a book. In this book, he says in a clear word that Egyptians were conquered not by the sword, but by the Quran. Egyptians were conquered not by the sword, but by the Quran. This is a testimony of a British historian, Sir Arthur Keith. Now, how the Egyptians were able to get Quran? Who made Quran available to these Egyptians? Who made available the Quran to Egyptian people? It was Sahaba. It was companions of the Prophet of Islam. So Prophet of Islam conveyed his message to the Sahaba, and Sahaba conveyed the message to Egyptians through the Quran. Quran is a book of Dawah for us. Quran is a book of Dawah. We have to spread Quran everywhere in the world in different languages. Originally, Quran was revealed in Arabic language, but now, English is the traditional language. So we have to prepare a Quran in English language, good English language. We have to translate Quran in this international language and then spread it throughout the world. This was the method of the companions of the Prophet. So when this British author says that Egyptians were conquered not by the sword, but by the Quran, here the question is, who spread Quran among Egyptian people? Who spread the Quran among Egyptian peoples? Obviously, Sahaba, the companion of the Prophet, were the source of this work. So we have to follow Sahaba pattern. We have to follow Sahaba pattern. Sahaba were completely dedicated people. They were completely dedicated people. So dedication is a sunnah. Prophet of Islam was a dedicated person. Sahaba were a dedicated person. Tabi'in were a dedicated person. So dedication is also a sunnah. dedication is also a sunnah. When you dedicate yourself in the work of Dawah, you are following the sunnah of the Prophet, sunnah of the Sahaba. So, Dawah is the greatest sunnah of the Prophet of Islam. When you ask people what is the sunnah of the Prophet of Islam, if you ask Muslims what was the sunnah of the Prophet of Islam, they will say that beard was sunnah and turban was sunnah and miswak was sunnah. But all these things are very trivial. The greatest sunnah of the Prophet was Dawah. It is mentioned in the Quran, Dayan Allah, Dayan Allah Bezni wa Sirajam Munira. The Prophet of Islam is a Dai. So Dawah work was the greatest sunnah of the Prophet of Islam. Prophet of Islam was engaged in Dawah work every day, every night, every morning, every evening. He has dedicated himself in this task. So this was the greatest sunnah. So if we want to follow the Prophet of Islam, we have to adopt sunnah. You have to adopt this sunnah. So, Dawah work is the greatest sunnah of the Prophet of Islam. Dawah work is the greatest sunnah of the companions of the Prophet. So we have to adopt this sunnah. We have to follow this sunnah. So Dawah work is the greatest duty, greatest divine duty. Dawah work is the greatest divine duty. Dawah work is the greatest sunnah of the Prophet of Islam. Dawah work is the greatest sunnah of the companions of the Prophet. So we have to follow this pattern. We have to follow this sunnah. We have to adopt this sunnah. We have to work for Dawah. Dawah is the key to paradise. Dawah ilallah is a key to paradise. So I would like to say that you must understand the importance of Dawah. You must understand the importance of Dawah. So, do Dawah work and you will be settled in paradise. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم أجمعين.